Welcome everyone in XRP land. Today, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. It's a pleasure to be able to introduce a new friend from Australia, and a big shout out here for Australia for anybody. It's one of the countries that I've had the pleasure to be able to have visited before. I spent 10 days at the Gold Coast one time, and in southern United States, we're kind of known for being really friendly people. But I got to be honest, I think that the people that I met while I was in Australia for 10 days were the friendliest people that I've ever met. So I have a deep love for Australia, and I believe that XRP Benno is my first Australian interview. So welcome, XRP Benno, and I'd like you to introduce yourself, and let's just have a friendly conversation and see where it goes.
All right. Well, all right. It's not related to any of the. It's just a different thing. I'm clearing my throat. Yeah, I'm from Australia. It's true, but like I don't represent Australia. You know, my mother's side of the family is from Poland, from World War II issues. My father's side of the family is a little bit Australian, but then they were convicts brought over here, or they were police officers, gold miners brought over here. There was something a couple of years ago. So I love Australia, but you know, I'm not necessarily like your typical Australian, represent the whole country, but I'll represent me and my crazy views on cryptocurrencies some people seem to enjoy. So yeah, I appreciate it when people come to Australia and they go to like the Gold Coast and they see how beautiful it is, and they don't realize what a terrible NRL rugby team they have, which my favorite team, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, defeated yesterday. It was a beautiful match. Go Bunnies. But that ties into a lot of what I got to talk about.
All right.
I got a million angles on my Boo Boo. Don't do that. Sorry, Mike. Boo Boo is trying to show you his rear side. This is Boo Boo, by the way. XRP Boo Boo. You were saying there's not just one Boo Boo in XRP world.
Yes, I did have the pleasure of making a new friendship with XRP Boo Boo, a wonderful, wonderful gal from England. Yep.
Okay, that's hilarious because you know, I'm friends with your boy XR Plumber, and I was talking to him about like I said to him, what's his name? XR Plumber, XRP Plumber.
Yeah.
So that's the same. There's like two. So there's gonna be another XRP Benno out there somewhere. But yeah, I mean, I got a million different ways I got into all this crazy stuff. I got the short version, I got the medium version, I got the blue after 10 p.m. version. If you want that version, what do you want to hear?
Take whatever version you'd like. What we normally do is just kind of give every one of the people that I'm speaking with, just give you the ability to have an open mic, basically to say what you want to. We kind of start out with usually, how did you run into crypto, and then how did you run into XRP, and what do you think about it? So with that as the guidelines, go where you want to. I'm along for the ride.
Well, yeah, well, I'd like to start with a piece of advice that I think it was Henry Rollins gave one time in an interview. You know Henry Rollins? You seen this guy in the news? He was really angry one day about something, and he went and asked one of his heroes for advice, and his hero said to him, "Yeah, my advice is don't ask people for advice." And so that's kind of what I get conjured up when you're like, "Hey man, I've got a microphone, I've got a platform, we can speak to the XRP community, we can speak to the world." That's hilarious because I've been doing an XRP chat show for the last 8 months every other day on YouTube, and that's basically what I ask people. And before that, I was doing like conspiracy lizard shows about the inside of the moon and technology, where I would ask people, so what do you think about the technology? What do you? So, you know, we always go back to the words of KRS-One, you know, when he's given a lecture about like, you don't have to speak English to know a hip hop beat, you know, you just need a milk crate and some turntables. It's kind of like that. So you know, the thing with me is I got a whole show, I got a whole channel if you want to go get to know me and my story from a million angles. But it recently became a cooking show.
I'll be doing that. Trust me.
Yeah, so stay in touch. But I watched a little bit of your show. I went through a few interviews, and I absolutely love this format, man. I got to say, it slots in like just perfect, like a puzzle piece, exactly where my heart is on this too. Like, I'm not a financial advisor. Some of my rugby tips win a lot of money. You know, I put $3.50 of bets on today. I won $401 of two separate bets. Okay, I know what I'm talking about. But the problem is, listen, this is how it works, man. I'll tell you about my little. You got to bring me back to the topics, but I'll tell you exactly what happened today. I got a hot tip on a rugby game, right? Gamble responsibly. You shouldn't gamble. You should enjoy it, but you know, you have a gamble. They say, you know, this guy, every time he fights this team, he always scores first, and it's happened the last 2 times, and it'll happen again now. 34-1, 34-1 to happen. So I put like $1 or something, $1.50 on that. Bang, $50. He got it. Of course he got it. $50 off $1.50, right? And then I put like $1.50, $2.50 on another one for that to happen, plus another to pick the team to win the game, plus another guy to score. So I made like $401 today, Australian dollars. So that's, what's that, 237.333, whatever, American. But, you know, I made $400 off a $3 bet. And the point of the story is, I'm all about the psychic magic with this stuff. Like, I have a friend. He's BTC Groom. If you look at my channel, he's the guy I just did a cooking show with. BTC Groom. He's a psychopath, but in a good way. And he has this whole thing about, like, Benno, your magic is crazy. What are you talking about? You're talking nonsense. You know, you have no system. But I tell you, I have a system, and the system is this. Whenever I try to share my sports tips with my friends or tell them about XRP is going to be magic, they're all like, nah, you're not right. And then if I ever brag about crypto or like it's going to make zillions, look at this 1 cent gain we have, the market crashes, I go into a bad mood, my friends don't think I'm correct. You know, it's this weird black magic, crazy mentality thing about it. It's an interesting game. So I tried to share my rugby tips with BTC Groom today and a friend of mine in a group chat, a little degenerate gambling group chat where we share our tips. And I said, no, you know what? I'm not going to share it with them because last time I tried, he poo-pooed it and said, no, that's not how magic works. That's not how statistics work. That's not a sensible investment. I'm not wasting $10 on a rugby bet, you know? So
it ends up working more for you, Benno, than it does when you try and share it.
Yeah, absolutely. So those types, I probably shouldn't even be telling this story. It'll go back in time and ruin the magic from that bet. But, you know, you see the stuff I'm onto here, I'm on that level of like, if you wear a suit and you need a serious financial investment for your family, don't take internet advice from me any more than you'd take like dating advice from 4chan. You know, I'm just some guy with a barbecue and a camera and a lot of crazy opinions about XRP. So yeah, it's all black magic, and I made $401 off, not black magic like evil, you know, just it's like curious. Yeah. It's dark arts. It's luck. There's AIs involved. There's algorithms. I'm happy to talk to people if they're like, "What's XRP? How do I get a ledger?" And I'm happy to talk to people if they're like, you know, do you keep having the same 400 dreams a night about the aliens with the robots and they come, you know, whatever. But what I will not do, my friend Scott, I will not be like another XRP newsreader guy, okay? There's plenty of those. I love them all. And here's a list I prepared of some of them. XR Plumber, Crypto Siege. I love Crypto Siege. Anyone there?
Yes.
When Mullet. Anyone from Crypto Siege? Yeah, he got me into it in a big way.
So when you were originally found crypto, did you do what many of us have done? Were you introduced to it originally through finding Bitcoin, and then that led you into finding XRP? That seems to be a regular story of that's consistent with a lot of us.
Absolutely, yeah. I dabbled in Bitcoin from the start, but I never got involved. I never knew anything about it. I just was aware that it was there. I knew my friends were buying it to buy LSD off the internet, and then it turns out it wasn't even LSD. It was a Chinese research chemical. It was a synthetic psychedelic. You know, it didn't glow under UV light. Didn't taste the same. What were they doing? And they're paying for it in Bitcoin and a publicly trackable currency. It's criminals. They're degenerates. They're not thinking straight. So I had a basic concept of like what crypto was back then. And for about 20 years or so, I've been looking into the deepest, darkest, most alien monetary system, crazy political, hyper spiritual aspects of everything there is to know about everything in existence. So I kind of converged all my knowledge into, oh yeah, it's XRP. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things along the way. You know, my friend, I had a friend with the USB stick, the old USB stick story. Had 50 cents left over from his illegal drug transaction from 11 years ago on a USB stick or on an old laptop, and he booted it back up, and he's like, "Oh, that's $9,000 worth," you know. So I knew it was real. I knew there was like silly money, but I never clicked until that 8 months ago. I got serious about 8 months ago. Bitcoin, I made $150 overnight on Bitcoin, and I went straight to XRP like a day later. Now I have anywhere from a top 3 to a top 10 cryptos, depending on my mood and the week. But it's stabilized to about 9.
I think it's good to diversify. Now, you mentioned aliens, and I saw one of the most fascinating interviews the other day. Do you know who that Bet David guy is? On his YouTube channel is called Valuetainment.
Bet David, no, it sounds familiar.
I
think I might have heard of it. Yeah, I'm not good with names. I know faces and characters really well, but it sounds. But face names, not so much.
He's an Iranian guy that moved to America and joined the U.S. military, and now he sells insurance and has a YouTube show. And he interviewed a guy the other day. He does a lot of mob stuff, a lot of mob interviews. But
yeah,
he interviewed a guy the other day called Dr. Stephen Greer, who is real big in the UFO community. And from the best I can tell, Dr. Greer lived in North Carolina for a long time. And when he told of his first alien experience, it sounded very much like the area in North Carolina and the mountains where I grew up. And so I don't know if you know a whole lot about Dr. Greer, but
I know a little bit about the mountains. I know a little bit about these weird mountains.
He spent the last 30 years looking into UFOs and all that kind of thing. So anyone, since you spent 20 years doing it, if you know if he has any credibility or not, it may be something that our audience that are interested in that kind of thing may want to go look to Dr. Greer as a resource for information. But it sounds like to me, and you can validate this for me because of your research, but it sounds like there's a whole lot more going on than what the governments have actually been owning up to telling us. And I think it's awfully arrogant of us to think that we're the end all and be all of the entire intelligence of the universe. Just for you, so you know where I'm coming from with that. I'm curious about it and open-minded. And I was really impressed with Dr. Greer and his research about the things that he's uncovered.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to talk about there. But basically, as I see things, this is not our planet. We should not be surprised if we learn that. Also, the Earth's flat, and it's a sphere, and it's a hyperdimensional donut shape, and it's all those things, you know? So it's kind of everything. It's kind of everything all at once. It's the AIs, it's the gods, it's the demons, it's the ancient religions, it's the new religions coming. Waves of technology are always, they're never man-made. You know, fire was a gift from the gods, the Prometheus and all that. And then armor, weaponry, swordplay, you know, these are gifts from the gods. And then we had what do we get next? Makeup. Prostitutes would put on the red lips and the makeup. These are gifts from the gods. You would have the original money system. You know, this is one of my favorite things. I'm going to plug Tracy Twyman. You ever hear of Tracy Renee Twyman?
No.
She wrote a lot of books. Long story short, you'll either look into her or you won't. But long story short, she wrote a great book called Money Grows on the Tree of Knowledge. And you can read the first 8.5 pages of that, or the first, you know, couple of chapters of that. And you will be a little more in depth on the nature of money than anyone else on the planet, because she was recently allegedly killed for her research.
And Benno, Tracy, the last name again?
Tracy Renee Twyman. She died under some mysterious circumstances because she got a little too close to some truths, I think. But anyway, she wrote a book a long time ago about the history of money. It all ties into, it's not your seashells emoji memes you see on Bitcoin Instagram traders. It's something to do with the wheat. So you're exchanging wheat, which is a promise of bread. And then your payment is you get a coin to go with a picture of wheat on it to go and get a prostitute inside the church You have sex with the prostitute as a holy communion with the female energy of the religious order or whatever, and your money system rolled into, if you went and had enough sex with enough prostitutes in the church to get enough wheat coins, you would have good wheat crops the next year. And so basically nothing's changed since then. You know, we had some dollars for a while. Now we'll have some Chinese money as of yesterday, and it'll be XRP by tomorrow. So it's the same thing. It's just going to be money for a system.
So it sounds to me like that you do believe that there's like a higher authority or somebody moving us, whether it's alien intelligence or something is moving us into a cashless society. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. In a million ways, but also in ways you might not comprehend or ways you might not expect. So it's like, you know, you're allowed to have an opinion on or a question about vaccines without being labeled an anti-vaxxer, but that's the way people need to, you know, you're allowed to question, say, an immigration issue in your town without necessarily being a racist that wants to stop all the immigration. You just want to look at an issue, you know. So people like to label things, people like to dismiss me as an insane psychopath, and they have for many, many decades. And now, everything I said is true. It's hilarious. Everything's coming true. The Great Reset's happening. XRP is going to make you zillions. XLM will be embedded in your chip. VET's going to be used to track the stolen sneakers from the looted stores in LA. It's all happening. H-bar will be used by Pleiadians as they shake hands on the lawn with Trump. But at the same time, you got to remember AI. There's a lot of AIs in this. You got to remember demons. There's a lot of demons in this. You got to remember time travel. Some people think that September 11th, 2001, that morning, Bitcoin was meant to be introduced as a gold digital currency for the world. And then something happened, and there was some, 713 different timeline wars converged. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there. Stephen Greer, we'll get back to him. I know everything that's on YouTube. I won't go into details, but I have some physical injuries that slowed me down for a lot of years. And I had to spend a lot of time lying down or like not moving too much. So I watched YouTube like maybe 3.5 times. And now I just go back to see if they've popped it back up. And I'm very familiar with Stephen Greer. I kind of get what he's doing. I kind of get what he's all about. And I'm also very familiar with a lot of people thinking he's very sus. And I'm also very, very, very familiar, and I hope you are out there too watching this, with everyone being really sus on everything you say to do with these topics, the aliens, the money, the medical system, whatever. Because people are reactive, people are programmed, people have emotions. And I'm a little bit stepped back from that. I spent 20 years doing a David Icke where you're trying to yell at everyone about Jesus or whatever. Like the lizard people inside the moon. I've been through all that. I don't care is the answer. I want my XRP zillions. And I'm not being evil. I'm not being rich about it. Why I want my XRP zillions is so I can buy like some hills and just a big pile of cocaine and like 100 Lamborghinis. And I want to make like a Lamborghini and cocaine sanctuary.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hey,
no, but quite seriously, I just want hills. I want animals. I just want like a bunch of cats and cows and stuff just running around the hills, just enjoying life. I don't want trouble. I'm just trying to do jokes.
What I want to do is I want to go back. I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina, and I want to go back up there. I want to buy a little house, not anything extravagant, that has a really good internet connection and really good television. And I want to have a gate and a long driveway you got to have to get back to me with security cameras there. I'm going to lock myself down up there and just enjoy. I'm 58 now, and I just want to be able to have enough money to sustain myself to enjoy the last third of my life peacefully and watch all of this stuff unfold. That's my dream.
Yeah. I always tell the neighbor across the road. I've got a neighbor across the road here, and I got him into cryptos. So like you can literally see on the channel, it started 7 or 8 months ago. That was like the day I said to my neighbor, "Hey mate, have you heard of this Bitcoin thing?" Like I hadn't looked at Bitcoin in years, and ever since then we've both been into XRP, and all that stuff's really important. You've got to one thing at a time. So Crypto Mike, I love Crypto Mike. Yeah. What's his name? Kevin Cage. I'm a big Kevin Cage fan. Go check in with Kevin Cage every day.
I love Kevin Cage, the voice, the legend.
Absolutely. And he is not mucking around too. He's there to inform you about the XRP news you don't have to go digging for. Please listen to Kevin Cage if you're out there. Do not take financial advice from him or YouTube or anyone, blah, blah, blah. DIY investing. I love DIY investing. He's a fantastic guy. I got into him very early.
Isn't his name, is it Dylan?
What is it?
He's
yeah,
got
Dylan
long
something.
blonde hair, right?
But, yeah, and he's funny too. He's actually got a lot of personality. He's a funny guy. I love him. And part of the reason I love him is because he's been into Crypto Kirby. You know Crypto Kirby?
I don't think I've seen that person yet.
That's probably a reason. Yeah, I used to love him. He was like my intro to Bitcoin, and basically what I learned from Crypto Kirby. If you're listening, Crypto Kirby, go to heck! I was correct. XRP's fantastic, and you were wrong. He was the first. He was my first. No, I love him. You're brilliant. He was my first exposure to like a cool crypto guy on the internet where you just watch charts and listen to a guy talk. And then at some point I realized, this guy is Garbaggio. He doesn't actually see the world outside of his graphs. So, ding ding, chicken wings for dinner. Tofu if you're vegan. I dodged him because I kept yelling at him in his comments about how XRP is going to be worth zillions because of blah, 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 because of all the stuff everyone knows it is. And he's just like, nope, never happened. I looked at the charts. It'll never happen. So anyway, that's why I moved on.
Do you enjoy, Benno, do you enjoy watching Jungle Inc.?
Jungle Inc. Oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah. It's not on my list, but I think I've seen
that. It'll be televised here on Jungle Inc. Michael is a really good guy. Really,
okay. There's you guys. I always fall asleep listening, so I don't always remember who I've watched when I fell asleep.
Really, really down to earth, really honest, and has been a good, solid XRP YouTuber for a good long while now. And he's one of the ones that I watch his stuff all the time. He's top notch.
Yeah, Jungle Inc. That sounds like something I've watched. So shout out to Jungle Inc. All right, let's go. XRP Chiz. Your main man, XRP Chiz. You know this guy? He's bullish. Bullish. He's telling you. He's telling you. Bullish. I love it. I love his raps. I love his rap music. I listen to his rap music all the time. I love his bullishness. And today he was talking about, yesterday he was talking about how he's been in it, a few years. He's seen the ups and downs. He's not one of these, I might invest in it guys. He's not one of these, I'm sour because I've been here forever guys. He's like, I'm in it. I'm in the zone. I'm bullish, people.
What I appreciate about him is I like getting my information while at the same time being entertained. And
yeah, absolutely. So
absolutely. He is very, very, very entertaining in his delivery of the information that he gives me. I appreciate him as well.
Yeah, and what you would have learned as well in this little XRP world, we're not like entertainers. We're not professionals. We're not getting paid per applause or whatever. We're lucky if we make a $10 Bitcoin sign up. There's no money. I'm not selling anything. But it's just being a bit of a character, being entertaining. So that's how I've got away with it. Like a couple of people seem to like my show. So I love you guys. If you don't like my show, don't watch it. There's 8 million other XRP things, but I love this format. I love
make sure you give me links in Twitter, and I'll make sure that we put them in the description of the video when we put it out. And I highly encourage everyone to check out anything that Benno does, because besides the fact that he's a nice guy, I think you guys can tell that, but he's enthusiastic and enjoys what he's talking about. So
there's nothing else.
Out to you.
All roads lead to XRP.
Yeah.
I literally, every time I watch the news, I see it now. I used to complain for years about watching the news. I hated it. I grumbled and complained. And my parents, I used to live with my parents a lot, as most degenerate XRP gamblers do. And I used to live with my parents a lot, and they banned me from living in the lounge room with them because I had to go in my room when the news was on. So I complained too much and go, oh, what's this? The bloody. Now I'm like, here's that Ripple script I told you Ripple was going to do 6 months ago. Here's the script of everything you're going to see on the news: February, June, July. The July 12th Big Ben alien events, the martial law, the blah, blah, blah. And now we're just laughing watching the news because it's a Ripple script. I know that's a crude analogy, but that's basically how I see the world at the moment. Everything is just Ripple, buy that dipple. So anyway, I love you guys if you're silly enough to watch my show. And I love this show too. I'm going to go back and watch a lot more of them. I've seen a few. How about this one? You want a controversial guy? What about AMTV? You watch AMTV?
Mr. Green.
Yeah. I love Mr. Green, and the thing I obviously I hate anyone who's like pushing a course or selling you something, but he's not selling you that much, and he is a very smart guy. Whatever you want to think about him, he's a very smart guy sharing a lot of good information.
Well, Benno, do you think that he really genuinely believes in XRP? I'm kind of
No,
having
he's a demon. He's a demon working for the Mars Syndicate. The Mars Syndicate that was at war. It's intergalactic. No, I don't know. I don't know the guy. You know, I love his palm trees. I want to one day have a pool and some children. So you know, I'll listen to him. I like a good Bible guy. You know, a guy who like occasionally goes like, and you got to repent because you know it's what is it? AIs. It's demons. It's your imagination. It's your ego. It's a real God. It's a series of gods. Whatever it is, you better get right with it. You know. Stop doing this black magic gambling thing. Get your spiritual protection in check.
So, have you? All right, another one. Have you run across Nagabu from the Naga tribe?
Yeah, I think. No, I'm thinking of Baba. Is that the same thing as Baba Cugs?
The
burning I've seen the name.
The burning question that he wants to know, Benno, is where's the bank money? And he refers he refers to Brad Garlinghouse as Macaulay Culkin. But then the other day when he went and spoke to the Brazilian central banks, he elevated him to Barry Manilow.
Okay, yeah, well, as far as I understand it, what was it, Bretton Woods, 1945? Ever since then, the money's been essentially just a bunch of BS. And then, as I understand, the last few years, all the gold on the planet has been sent up through the Dragon rockets up to the space station for whatever weird Anunnaki blood ritual goes on up there, or it's just a psyop because everything's a hologram. Who cares? The point is, I think that's where the gold went. My whole life, I'm only, 37 years old. They're always telling me my whole life, oh, there's no gold anymore. There's no money anymore. You learn about the fractional reserve banking. And now, what is it, 15 years ago we were learning about that stuff? 20 years ago we were watching videos about how to do fractional reserve banking. Now we're watching the news and we're trying to explain to everyone around us. Do you see exactly how you're being stolen and flipped and inverted and everything's going to go berserk and you are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a day?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, if I don't see it happen, it doesn't happen. And they don't.
Don't worry, Benno, about that $1.2 quadrillion derivative market that has grown. Don't worry about that. Just the banksters got it. They understand all of these formulas. It's just above our comprehension to understand it. It's okay.
Yeah, it takes me back to the AIs, the entities. You know, I mean, I've interacted with entities much smarter than me. And I've also learned that we're not the smartest thing on this planet. And that's what a lot of this AI rollout's going to be. You know, maybe there's a big UFO event, July 12th, whatever. Pleiadians on the White House lawn, whatever. You have to come to terms with the tracking and the chips and the privacy going away and the cameras going everywhere. It might go quantum. It might go all vegan. It might be like a horrible hellscape. Who knows? Who cares? Enjoy life. I'm just, just trying to make some friends on the internet because I'm a lonely, lonely man. Which brings me to my next point. I'm looking for a wife. If there's any wife out there you want to put up with this nonsense 24/7? I love to cook. I hate to clean. Okay? That's the deal.
He's available, ladies. So, do you believe that what's the state of the beer cold in Australia? Is it?
I'm not living in the city anymore. So yeah, I don't live in the city anymore, so I'm allowed to touch my face in my own home. But yeah, every time I go to a shop, I am reminded that everyone is, being phased out. Humans are being phased out. I think it's the end of the era. I think it's biblical. I think every day is just like one step closer to 7 billion being raptured off or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy. I'll probably go to jail if I comment on it, which is the other crazy thing. But at the end of the day, I don't care because I'm smiling and I'm laughing because life's good. And I know that this is all a big ripple script. As horrible as that sounds, like, I'm in tons of pain. I have a very painful nerve disorder. I'm in like some very high levels of pain all the time. So I make a lot of jokes. I fuck around. Pardon my French. I muck around a lot. I say silly things. but it's all very serious because I understand the seriousness of all the serious topics because my body's in constant pain. My nervous system runs up into the back of my brain. So it's like, it's not a normal system. So I hear things differently. I see things differently. I feel things differently. And it brings me to my main point in crypto. When people complain about too many moving parts in the economy, too many moving parts in the money system, it's actually, it's not that many moving parts.
Well, back to our YouTubers. Did you ever watch any of the SPQR guys, Lee or KG or Andy or any of those guys? If you haven't seen any of theirs, they've got a great video called The Truth. And they traced, there's a gentleman named Klaus Gutenberg, who is a German politician who happens to be in the Medici family. And the Medici family, if you go back into Roman times, started banking. And then I believe I got the name of this family right. The Pfluger family did a power play, moved the Medicis out of the banking business. And now we've got a Medici on the board of directors at Ripple.
Right. Because the way I heard it.
Got your tin hat?
Right, yeah, I'll get my tinfoil hat ready. I invented a product. I'm actually a product inventor as well because I invented a product called the tinfoil condom because I was sick of the government stealing my thoughts.
Ah.
Anyway, a little tinfoil humor there.
I got it.
But quite seriously, tinfoil works in about 5 layers. I'm an orgone guy. I love orgonite, like 12 layers of metal and inorganic organic materials, the band sciences. So one of the things about that is like you don't need tinfoil, you need a fine copper mesh with a grounding wire. Anyway, what was the question? Yeah, the bloodlines. People are telling me that this XRP Ripple thing is like it's some evil draconian planetary takeover. It's a Rothschild banking system to enslave humanity. But like, what isn't? So I hear a lot of these things. I hear that there's banking families at war in ways that we'll never hear. The Chinese dragon bloodlines colluding with the Pleiadians. There's all sorts of things floating around. I tend not to actually believe in any of them whatsoever. And then I kind of just keep them all in my big mind, kind of like, how does it all piece together? Why is this group believing that? How does Stephen Greer influence this? What other aliens have done that, So, like, you can't beat me. You can't defeat me with your, he's a left-wing, right-wing, or he prefers Bitcoin sometimes, but then he doesn't. I'll just tell you, I'll start a show. I'm cooking some chicken drumsticks on a barbecue. I'm sitting next to my palm tree in the backyard, and I'm just telling you, like, hey, sorry, guys. I made a mistake in yesterday's video. Here's an update. Who cares? Don't take investment advice from the internet.
One of my favorite YouTubers that we haven't mentioned yet is the digital asset investor, and he smokes butts. So maybe sometime we could get together and have a cook-off and have a cooking contest show. I think that would be great.
Yeah. I'm not in any way a professional chef. I'm about as professional a chef as I am professional financial advisor. But I'll tell you this: it ties into my origin story, and I think it ties into a few people's origin stories. There was a lot of things that led me into Bitcoin about 8 months ago, and then into XRP. But the main one was a friend of mine was considering she might have financial troubles, and she said, "Oh my God, I don't know anything. I'm gonna have to see a financial advisor. I'm gonna have to pay him money." It's going to be a guy in a suit. Exactly. And that set me off. I was like, no, that can't be right. No, that doesn't sound right. And then my father, he did the same thing. He said, all right, I'm going to go see the financial advisor. An old guy in a suit who thinks Bitcoin is witchcraft. And he's like, he's just selling you a product from 2 different insurance companies. So I got so irritated by people I love and care about, worrying about their financial future, and then paying a guy in a suit to sell them products that were going to tank.
Well, Benno, I am not a financial advisor, but I want you to know, can you see this?
A little bit, yeah. Who is that?
That is my financial advisor. Did you ever see the Big Lebowski?
A long time ago.
This is the purple Jesus.
Okay. I don't remember. I saw that movie a very long time ago.
You're much better off listening. I'm better off listening to the purple Jesus than I am
Right.
traditional financial advisors. America is
Absolutely.
$147 trillion in unfunded liability debt. There are 100 countries right now who have gone to the IMF to ask for financial relief. Anyone seeking financial advice, my advice, do not go to traditional financial advisors. They're experts in like the Titanic and it's almost under. Do not listen to these people. The fiat experiment has failed and we're going to enter into a new economic paradigm, and I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like, but I got a really good feeling that we're going cashless. And like the digital asset investor says, my libertarian leanings don't exactly like it all that much, and some of the unintended consequences that come with it. But that doesn't make a shit bit of difference to the people that are going to be doing it. So there's my rant. No, and any financial advice, anybody can call me and we'll discuss it. We'll discuss it with the Purple Jesus.
Yeah, and that's not to throw these people under the bus. Let's talk to them, have conversations with everyone about crypto. And you just learn the basic level of understanding people have, and you realize like there's a handful, maybe 15 people on YouTube you should be paying attention to, and then most other people don't even know what you're on about. So for better or worse,
I do want to put a shout out. I have experience with Blake from I Trust Capital, and I did invest in a Roth IRA for 2019 and 2020 with I Trust Capital, and I spoke to Blake. I got to know Blake. I trust Blake. I like Blake. And anyone that is in America that is looking at maybe doing some type of financial conversations, I highly recommend having a conversation with Blake Skadron, who works for I Trust Capital. Besides being a really smart guy, he's a really nice guy. So big shout outs to Blake and I Trust Capital.
Yeah, there's some beautiful people out there in the finance world, no doubt.
The Purple Jesus likes I Trust Capital.
So there you go. Shout out to I Trust Capital. I'm a big fan of like people who understand finances and give good advice. Me personally, I went through that phase of like people saying to me, well, I'm not really going to take your advice because you don't have any money.
Well,
so that put me on the path, and now I've got more money than all of them, and I know everything about cryptos more than any of them will know. So
well, see,
advice is now $5 a minute.
The rub I have is that my father and stepmother have got a good chunk of money that my grandmother left to them. They have I won't mention the name of the company because I don't want to get sued, but they've got a traditional financial advisor that's been in the family handling the money for decades. All right. The problem is if he does not make a commission off of what he recommends to them, he doesn't recommend it. If his bank doesn't have it set up to make money off it, he's not going to allocate any of their portfolio into it. And I got a big problem with that. So I'm not a big fan of the traditional, unless they seem to be open to the fact that we have a new digital asset, a new asset class. Unless they're open to change, I don't really want to. I don't want to hear from them.
It's amazing too, because there doesn't seem to be much more to it than you're either a genius like us and you figured out that XRP is fantastic, and in which case congratulations, or you're under 25 and you just know all this stuff. Like I've been to like out at New Year's parties and that. I'm 37 years old. My friends are like 28, 29. And we go to like some backyard party full of like 19-year-old kids, 23-year-old kids, and they're just drunk and they keep coming sitting next to us. Hey buddy, how are you? And every time I talk to them, I go, hey man, what's your favorite cryptocurrency? And like I spoke to like a whole bunch of like young people, and anyone over about 25 was like, what's that? I don't know what's that. And everyone under 25 was just like, I don't know, you know. I don't mind Medic's all right.
Benno, I live in a very tiny tiny little town called Moncure, North Carolina. We don't even have a red light. All we've got is a post office, right? And
Yeah.
and a little convenience store. Well, I was in a convenience store last week, and I was listening to the Digital Asset Investor on my phone. And I was in line 6 feet apart doing my social distancing like a good little boy. And the guy at the register, about a 20-year-old kid, turned around and looked at me and he goes, "Dude, I love the Digital Asset Investor."
Oh, that's beautiful.
So yeah,
and he's a controversial figure too.
It seems
because
like
he's been around forever.
Yeah, these younger people seem to have adapted to understanding what's going on, and then there's a gap between other people knowing it. But
I love it. I love XRP world. Anyone who even knows what XRP is, I'm an XRP sexual. Like, I get excited when people are into it. I don't care about anything else, because everything everyone else is complaining about or running around getting upset about is leading to a situation where there's going to be a great reset, there's going to be events, and there's going to be a new XRP grid. It's that simple. So in my mind, follow your passions, do what you got to do, make the world a better place, heal the world, whatever you got to do. But just know this is happening. This is how it works. It was in the Bible. Like, it was in my dreams. It was in the tea leaves. There's no. I wonder if we don't move to digital cash. We've had digital money for forever. Banks are behavior monitoring AIs essentially. They're nothing to do with money.
All right, now I would really regret being able to have and I hope we're going to get together again, by the way, but I would really regret
anytime.
I would really regret, Benno, if we did not happen to discuss and I could get your feelings on the gentleman in the prison in New York who didn't kill himself. Do you any views on Mr. Epstein and all of that?
I don't know, man. Like, the minute I saw anything to do with anything, and it's got the layers of the memes and the people are saying he didn't kill himself and all that stuff. The minute I saw all of that, I went, oh yeah, this would be exactly the same nonsense psyop that gets rolled out every time anything happens that anyone ever talks about or knows about ever. And it's all got 50 million layers of agendas, 8 million layers of secrecy, 12 billion inversions that double up and mirror, and you don't just turn off your TV and just don't talk to anyone. Go outside and talk to the moon, talk to the trees, ask your neighbors what they think about XRP. I don't know, man. I spent a lot of my life, worrying about memes on the internet.
I watched a great video on him about where he had gotten his money, and he was like a private school, high school teacher, and then all of a sudden, this Wexner guy who owns Victoria's Secret gave him all of his money and said, just invest all my money. And the guy was teaching at a private school in New York. And then this billionaire just says, here's all my money. Go ahead and start investing it. And then he meets all these people. I mean, there has got to be something more to that. And the fact
no comment. I have no comment. I'm neutral. I'm not saying a thing. I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't care about this. XRP solves all these problems. Listen, who we got? CKJ News. I like CKJ News. Crypto Kirby, we mentioned him. Crypto Eric. There's a few. There's like Mr. B, XRP, VOD. There's a few. I like the voices. I like people's voices. And I like to hear, like Digital Asset Investor, that they've been around a while and sort of know what's up.
Me too. I have my family mother's side of my family is from South Georgia. So I'm really looking forward to the day that Digital Asset Investor is one of the ones on my bucket list. And I'm really looking forward to the day that I can speak to him, because I think my family grew up fairly close to where he did in South Georgia. So, yeah, but he's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting meetups planned. I think a lot of them revolve around, somewhere on the moon. We're going to meet somewhere on the moon with all our, we'll go to a bar in Japan. There's a few guys in the Crypto Siege chat. Go hang out with Crypto Airy and, what's his name? Shane Ellis.
Yeah.
Go see what they're up to. And, I'm always open to the Aussie trip if you want to come down. And I don't want to hang out in this part of Australia. I'd love to go up north of Queensland. So at some point when we moon, I might be moving up to Queensland. If you're a silly girl, that's basically I got 2 requirements for a wife. You got to be shorter than me and a bit skinnier than me. You don't have to be a lot skinnier than me or a lot shorter than me. Just technically, it's a biological thing, you know. It's not a sexism thing. It's not an ego thing. It's biologically when animals meet eye level, the dominant masculine male has to kind of be like, all right, you're my female wife. It's like dogs, cats. It's not a you have to clean, I have to cook thing. It's maths.
Well, one of the
girl and she's like, oh, look at that guy.
Well, one of the interesting things I saw yesterday on Twitter, a wonderful gal. She leans more towards Bitcoin. That's okay. Her name is Wendy, and another girl named Ashtoshi, I think is how you call it. And they were both commenting on, that they actually like the male to be the alpha. So I was actually glad to hear that there were a couple of beautiful women out there that are like, yeah, we would like our men to be.
They love it. I'm done with anyone who doesn't want to get married. Right? You listening out there, ladies? If you've got a broken phone screen, we're not getting married, okay? If you're driving around with the shiny things dangling from your rearview mirror, that's not a marriage. You can take it off, but I want to know what's in your brain. I don't want a liability. I want an asset. I want a partner. I want to make some babies so the government can raise them. We can all be putting the meat grinders in the megacities by 2030. There's only so much time. No, but quite seriously, I'm a lovely guy. I spend a lot of time quietly on the couch. I don't make trouble. There will be some cats. There'll be a minimum of one cat.
Got it.
So anyway, enough about me. How's your XRP world situation going? Because I genuinely really love what you're doing. You're talking to, some people are just super smart, super deep into it, and some people are super newbie. But you've caught this whole new amorphous blob of sort of XRP community, XRP army.
Well, again, what the whole idea about what I was trying to do is that I believe that an army has got the supreme leader, and then he's got some more generals below them, and then some colonels, and all the way down to the privates. And I think we've got a lot of people in the XRP army beside our major influencers. And I'd like to be able to hear every story that I can get. And the biggest reason is because the more that we can all get content out there together, the better that the masses are going to be able to run across this information. Well, my belief, Benno, is that if we have a cross section of people who have shared their experience in XRP, like a 25-year-old single mom is not going to relate to me. I'm a 58-year-old Southern guy. She's not going to care about what I think about how to invest or what XRP means.
I don't mind a kid. I can marry her. It's not a problem.
But a 25-year-old single mom is going to relate to a 25-year-old single mom. So I think as many of the stories of the people that we can meet and get those stories out there, the better. So that's the driving motivation behind what I'm trying to do. And the second thing is this. On a Saturday afternoon in little old Moncure, North Carolina, I got my purple Jesus. I got my little, I got the props for the show, the professional. This is a professional broadcast. I've got my koala bear since you're from Australia. And who would have imagined in the history of mankind that I would ever been able to have had such an interesting conversation? If
one of them?
Not, see it, Koala, Australia. I mean, Benno, how other, unless we had communicated through connecting in our XRP community, would we have gotten a chance to get to know each other? I mean, to me, the connections of the people that I've made, the new friendships that I've made, is what this is all about. And if I'm going to get rich in XRP moves on top of it, guess what?
No, it's family.
I've got a new friend and a new family member, you in Australia. So I want to go to Australia. I'm taking my girlfriend and I, Carrie, are going to get our moon gear. And we're going to fly over and we're going to spend time in Australia with you.
Yeah, that's it. I'll pick you up at the airport. No problem.
Yeah. So that's, again, the reason that I want to be a connector. I want to try to see.
Come to my parents' house to watch a rugby game.
That would be fantastic. And when you come to America, I'll give you the incredible tour of Moncure. I'll go take you down.
I've got a few people in America I have to catch up with. Yeah, when it happens.
Benno, you'll love our convenience store and our post office. It's a short tour.
The place I actually live has one business in it. It's a very, very small town near another town. So the place I live, it actually only has one shop in town, and that's a curtain shop.
Wow.
I'm endlessly in battles with the guy because I just hang a bunch of sheets like a degenerate gambler, friggin' problem maker. You know, because I'm waiting. I don't have to live like a degenerate. I could very easily like dress nice and clean my shoes, but I choose to live like an animal on the floor in dirt and filth, so that when I get the 100 zillion in the account, I'm not going to be like, everything has to be clean. You know, I just want to get on with things, but I want to appreciate it when I get it.
So
I don't need the fancy now.
So to all of your potential wives out there, he's a very relaxed person, not a type A personality, ladies. He's not type A.
Not relaxed at all. I'm incredibly tense all the time. But, you know, whatever. Listen, I don't need to impress you, ladies. There's billions of you out there watching this going, ew, what's wrong with that guy? How tall is he? You know, I don't need you. I need one. I need the good Lord God or the XRP AI or whatever you've got to send just one. I don't know, maybe three, 2 or 3 I could probably deal with if I had some millions. But, you know, I'm not going to go like down to the pub every night with a sign saying like, help, I need a wife.
Benno, I'm going to pull out all the stops for you. Superman Pez dispenser.
Yeah, right.
Maybe asking him to send you the right gal. Superman Pez dispenser. Maybe it'll work.
My thing is like I move around a lot when I sleep. You know, I need to put my hip up a certain way. So I'm saying like maybe 4 nights a week, separate beds. 3 or 4 nights, or even just I'll sleep on a bed on the floor. You can stay up on the bed. I need a bit of room to kick around after. And I can't sleep on the same schedule as you, lady. Right? I know we're married. I know we love each other. We're committed. But you have to understand, when I'm awake at 4 a.m, I'm going back to bed at 11 a.m. Okay? Everyone I talk to on the internet is 24/7. The global digital world. I can't deal with these girls who are like, but it's daylight now, or I have a job, or you know, I don't need all that. It's basically I need a partner in crime before I have $100 zillion, and then I will know you're a lovely girl and you won't just ask me for my $100 zillion. I currently have barely anything. I just spent all my money on a car service.
All right, now when you have not seen, and I'm going to give you a link to it. You have not seen that Naga Bo. You've not come across Naga Bo yet, right?
No, but I got to check it out as well as alternate.
I'm going to sit and in one of his videos last week, he actually announced his candidacy for the presidency of the United States. So one of my goals,
John McAfee as vice.
One of my goals is to try to see if I can put together Naga Bo and John McAfee together in a presidential debate.
Yeah, it writes itself, man. Make Naga MAGA again. I've actually had a lot of similar thoughts. You know, if you know me from my show, you would know I have this big goatee all the time because if I shave it, I get this little flabby thing from where I've been eating all the barbecue chicken you've been seeing me eat. So I grow a little beard here. And sometimes I grow it here, and I think I should grow it out a centimeter either side there, and that way I can be like the John McAfee of XRP. You know, I can hire my own private security, get some Hawaiian shirts, you know, maybe make some custom hammocks.
That there's always if there's a will, there's a way. And
I'm a lovely guy. You should marry me, but you know, one at a time, please.
And a couple of videos back, maybe 3 weeks ago, I went on a strike for the pandemic, and I only shaved half of my face. And Benno, for 10 days, out in the public, nobody said a word. Nobody. they would
There's a
look
lot of
at
time
me.
people weren't talking. Yeah.
They would look at me and they would see that you've only shaved half your face, but they wouldn't say anything. And then I made a vow that until someone actually acknowledged that I was the half shaved face guy, that I wasn't going to shave it. And it took 2 days. I mean, are people too obsessed thinking just about themselves and nothing else to be able to
Absolutely.
miss?
And they've always been like that. They've been like that for a while. Yeah. I have a very good friend of mine who is a girl, if you can believe it, not a girlfriend, but a girl. And she would always tell me her boy problems and this and that. And does this outfit look right? Am I going to be fun when I meet this guy or whatever? And it turns out she's just so busy worrying about herself, she doesn't realize everyone else is worrying about themselves.
Right.
She'd worry for an hour about which, black T-shirt to wear. This black T-shirt or this black T-shirt. I'm like, no one is looking at your black T-shirt because they're too busy thinking about their own black T-shirt. So anyway, can I give you a summary? I'll give you a beautiful summary of something. You ask people what their their crypto story is.
Yeah.
I got a little summary for you. This is basically how I put it, is all my life I was into I grew up getting into the dial-up modems, the video games, the technology, computers, programming, the networking. And most of my life I worked I'm sorry, there's no punchline here. This is just the real story. Most of my life I worked in IT jobs. And everyone's like, wow, IT, you grew up in IT, you're going to make $1 zillion. And then, I had a screwdriver and I worked a lot of rubbish jobs and I had no money the whole time and I did a little thing or two here and there. And then I'm looking around and everyone's still going, wow, you're in IT, there's so much money. And I'm just like, where's this? What money are they talking about? So now when I'm into crypto, everyone talks to me as if is this some new IT? Is this a new technology that you understand? All right, I got a news update for you guys. I don't know anything about crypto. I don't understand jack about it, okay? But that's how I came to understand it, and this is going to be my new IT zillions. And it's the opposite. People aren't saying, oh, you're into crypto. Did you make zillions? They're saying, oh, what's that? And there are 5 million reasons not to have that conversation. So that's my goal, is to not miss the next IT. It's the next wave. We had the fire, we had the makeup, we had the armor, we had the nuclear stuff for a while. I don't know who brought that in, but we're getting a new wave of technology from Antarctica, allegedly. If those guys are to be believed, your David Wilcoxes, your New Age guys. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of things to look at, and I really love how we've got a little XRP group going and place to share these thoughts without being called a psychopath and locked up.
Don't forget Greg Braden, and one of my favorites. Are you? Who is the spiritual chemist? Doctor. He did the biology of belief. He's really good too. He hangs out a good bit with Greg Braden. But yeah, are they ever going to let David? How do you say his last name? Is it Icky? Are they ever going to allow him to go back onto YouTube? They going to allow him to go back on?
A year or so ago, about a year and a half ago, I broke up with a girl over David Icke because he was banned from Australia, if you remember. And she was reading that news article. She knew nothing about him. She literally knew zero about him, had no concept that he'd been writing these books for decades or that he was clearly a CIA agent or whatever he is. She had no concept. And she just goes, oh, it's disgusting. People like this need to be stopped. And she's reading the newspaper. And I'm like, do you know what you're talking about? Have you watched 10 years of these 3 DVD long lectures of this guy? Do you know what he's all about? He's kind of trying to help humanity. Maybe he's trying to steer us towards, something else. Who knows? But do you have any concept? And she just shakes her head, puts down the paper and goes, oh, no, Benno, I can't do the accent. She sounded a little bit like Borat. She's like, you have to have rules, We have to have rules in a society. We cannot just have anyone saying anything. And I'm like, is it the Jew stuff? Is it because the media says he hates Jews? And she's like, yes, of course that's wrong. You can't say this. And I'm like, have you watched 30 hours of this guy saying it's not the Jews? You don't have to believe or not believe. You don't have to buy in or not buy in. You can just kind of, use your brain, talk to 800 other smart people you trust. Don't get your advice from typing into Google, hey, what's financial advice? Join these communities. Join the chats of live groups, Talk to people like us. We've been through a bit of a crypto journey and we're on a crypto journey, but we're not out of reach, It's really good. It's a good level some of us are at here. Because some of us are stupid. Some of us make a lot of mistakes.
And there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. You know the only way not to make a mistake, Benno? Don't do anything at all.
Try.
Never
do anything. And that's an analogy for, not an analogy, that's a potential scenario for AI. So one way to look at things is like, imagine you program an AI and you tell it, okay, AI, you're in charge of humanity. Please, your number one thing, your task, you have to do, your focus, your goal, your strategy is, your rule set of existence is protect humanity at all costs. So what's the first thing the AI is going to do? It's going to sedate you, put you under a holographic headset, bury you in a capsule underground, and put you in a coma for 3 million years. Okay, that's the safest thing it could do with a human. You got to be careful what you wish for.
Very true. Oh, okay. Let's end up with this. Did you see, and do you have a position on the mouse that was filmed on the rocket that Elon Musk had?
Absolutely.
I saw on the back of the rocket, Benno.
My stance hasn't changed since seeing that video. I'll tell you what I've been saying for the last 10 years. Just because they faked the moon landing doesn't mean they didn't go to the moon.
Well, I think that's a fantastic way for us to wrap it up. Now, the one thing that I do, and when I end every one of my interviews is I ask, I thank the person, so thank you, and I also ask that would it be okay if I asked in the future for us to do this again, say a month or so down the road, when there's more stuff that's happened between now and then that we can talk about? That invitation will be open to you always. And I'm looking forward to when XRP moons, Carrie and I are going to visit Australia and come see you and let you show us around.
Absolutely, but it's only 2 people. One of the seat belts in my car in the back seat doesn't work. It wouldn't be roadworthy, so I need XRP to moon to the car with functioning seat belts. I just gotta thank you as well. I think you're right. I think this is 100% the correct thing. It's brilliant. And again, don't take advice from me. But you do have to understand. It boils down to this. There's 4 types of analysis, right? You got your China analysis. That's important. You should do China analysis. You've got your fundamental analysis. That's important too. You've got your technical analysis. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is you've got to do some XRP Benno analysis, okay? The XBA. You've got to get some BA in your life, okay? Benno analysis. I don't talk to you about all the nonsense. I sit there and have a barbecue with you, and I'm like, yeah, what's going on, guys? So it's fun. So I hope you have a fun time. And I love you guys. Everyone's brilliant. Genuinely, like 1 or 2 bad eggs, are still a bit sour because they bought a lot of XRP and have a bit of a bee in their bonnet about the price being low, but I don't worry about any of that. And every minute or 2 I get upset about those things, I meet like another 100 people in XRP world that are just beautiful, fantastic attitude, glowing hearts. I've never had so many like positive, tweets and comments and things in my life. It's brilliant. Sure. I hope I help. I hope you guys help me. I got a lot of hope.
Me too. I got a lot of hope, and I hope that everyone looks forward to more cooperation in our human experience than the competition that we've all been involved with up to now. Because I think the evolution of consciousness is moving us into that we have enough, and let's learn how to share it so everybody can have a good life, not just the ones who can outcompete other people.
My love is like a flame, just because I, burn 2 or 3 candles doesn't mean we can't light a few more fires afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
Fantastic way to end. Thank you again, Benno, and I look forward to developing our friendship and look forward to getting back together with you again in the near future, and we can kick some ideas around again, and maybe we'll know if Epstein killed himself by then.
July 13, Big Ben. July 13, Big Ben. Big Ben events, London. July 13, Big Ben.
All right, sounds great. Thank you, Benno.
Get on to me before or after July 13. All right, thank you, my friend.